thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of the NBA on CCS. I'm Carter Furr here with Ben Parsons to talk about the NBA season so far. We're about a week and a half into it, and we are in full swing. It's been a really exciting first week and a half of action.
Definitely.
So we're going to spend some time now running through some of the hotter teams in the league, going through topics, talking about what happened.
Yeah, pretty much. The first things for me, the Clippers and Spurs have looked pretty good in the West. I mean, so far,
definitely.
both of those teams started off hot. I do like the way the Clippers have been moving the ball a little bit. I was hesitant at first without them having Chris Paul, but
I think everyone was.
but they seem to be doing a fairly good job, and they have a deep team now, and that's something that they didn't have before.
Yeah, you're right. They've had a lot of contributions from their bench. Patrick Beverley is leading the league in steals. He's been big for them. Blake Griffin has returned to his 2013-14 form.
Shooting a lot of threes too.
Oh yeah, he is, and he's been unstoppable so far. He looks really good. I think he's putting up like 26, 9, and 5 on the year. They've been doing really well. DeAndre Jordan also has 18 rebounds on the season so far. I know it's early. That number will probably sink a little bit.
18 per game. Oh my gosh.
That's nuts through 4 games. Those two, the only undefeated teams in the league, 4 games in.
Yeah, and then you got the Spurs, who have looked pretty good even without Kawhi. I mean, that's insane.
Right. Yeah.
And so they definitely have been playing up to par, and that's been fun to watch. You have, let's see, who else in the West? You can't mention the West without saying the Warriors. I mean, they've looked beatable this year. Teams have gotten under their skin. You saw Steph Curry and was it Draymond or Kevin Durant that got ejected? I can't remember. Steph got ejected the other day for throwing
for the
mouth guard. It wasn't really his smartest move.
Yeah.
But they've definitely looked beatable. They're still the Warriors, so I mean they're still going to be really good. But like, it seems like they haven't retained like that status they had at the end of last season.
Yeah, definitely going into the season, certainly with our preview that we did, our preview show, the storyline was going to be the top 5 teams in the league and how they're all trying to catch the Warriors. And that has not at all how the NBA has turned out, at least a week and a half.
Gotta love that, though. That's the parody in the NBA.
Exactly. It makes it a lot more fun. No one was expecting any sort of parody, like you said. But, the Warriors beatable was a good term, I think. They took the L to the Rockets on opening night. They lost to, was it the Memphis Grizzlies?
Yep.
That was big. No one expected that. They lost by 10. Obviously, they've still got so much offensive firepower. And on the plus side for them, Steph Curry looks like he's returning to his back-to-back MVP form. Last year, he kind of, I don't want to say took a back seat to KD, but he took at least a passenger seat.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely back in the driver's seat now. He's leading the team in assists, 3-pointers, points per game, and I think steals as well. He's done really well.
Yeah, he's definitely been ready to go. And then we have the teams that we thought were going to catch up to the Warriors even quicker that play them. They've looked good, but not great. I mean, you got Houston and the Rockets. They did lose Chris Paul with an injury for the next couple of weeks. That was huge. But they have looked good so far this year. I think they've only lost 1 game. And they got the Thunder, who the big 3 looks great. But like we said, what troubled us was the fact that they have no bench, or they don't have a lot for a bench.
Right.
They recently picked up P.J. Dozier. He hasn't really played yet. But, they don't really have that much as a bench, and that's really been their downfall so far. Is there anything you think about those teams?
Yeah, definitely. I think the Thunder, the biggest thing for them is the lack of teams outside of the OK3.
Yeah.
They're the big 3 players. Russ Westbrook is leading the NBA in assists, but they're all going to Melo and Paul George.
Yeah.
Andre Roberson's not helping him much. Steven Adams is going to get you some rebounds, and I think he's averaging 10 points a game, so that's respectable. But really, their bench has been soft, and that's going to need to improve from them. They're going to need to find some rhythm if they want to make some noise down the stretch. Obviously, it's very early in the season. But, the Rockets, they've had some key role players, some signings from free agency, especially 2 guys, P.J. Tucker and Luke Richard and Ba Amute.
Yeah.
2 guys they brought in that have been big performers. They both had big nights, night 1 against the Warriors.
Yeah.
That was encouraging, especially P.J. Tucker. He showed he can be a scorer off the bench. Last year's 6th man of the year, Eric Gordon, is picking up right where he left off. I think he's averaging 24 a night.
Which is incredible. I mean, we did not think that right off the bat that they would be this good, or their bench would be that deep, because they gave up a lot for that trade for Chris Paul.
And especially they've been playing without him.
I know, and they've been playing without him, and they've looked good. They've only lost 1 game so far, and I mean in that game against the Warriors, like you said, they had that bench really stepped up. I mean, Chris Paul played in that game, but it was really their bench that helped them win that, and that was a great game.
Certainly was.
Oh my gosh. And then other than that, there's the Timberwolves, who don't look bad. And I mean, that we both were very high on the Timberwolves going into the season, and we both love Tom Thibodeau. But the thing for the Timberwolves, though, is their bench and key players going to step up other than their big three? And that seems to be a common occurrence with these teams that have made a big three, or these who have teamed up like that. It's whether or not the bench steps up or is enough to beat these other teams. But I really think they're young and they're going to figure things out. They just haven't played as well so far.
I think so. They've had their ups and downs throughout this short season. They were certainly our underdog pick when we ran through our season preview before the season began. Especially, I think guys like Jeff Teague and Jimmy Butler are going to need to step up for them.
Yeah.
Wiggins has been pretty good. Timberwolves fans have been pretty happy with how he's been playing. Towns has been good, not elite center good, but he's been pretty solid. Jimmy Butler certainly is the guy that I think really needs to step up. His points per game total is down to 13.3. The last time it was that low in his NBA career, Lonzo Ball was 14.
Oh my God.
That's crazy to me.
That's
lowest
insane
in
to think about
5 years.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to need to right the ship there. It is early, and he's been out with an illness for the last 2 games, but we'll see if he can correct that. His turnovers have been up, rebounds and assist numbers have been down. How about the Grizzlies? One more team. They lost to the Mavericks not last night, but Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But before that, they were 3-0. They got a hot start, obviously, beat the Warriors. They've looked pretty good.
Yeah, they've looked good at home. They've looked good on the road. They have Mike Conley, who, in my opinion, is the most underrated point guard in this league. You never hear about him because of the point guards like Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, and all that, but he's a great defender and just a great facilitator for that team. There's been a little bit of changeover in that team, but it seems to not have hurt them so far. They're definitely fun to watch, and it'd be nice to see them keep this going moving forward.
I think so. That's a team everyone can root for. I think David Fizdale is a very, very underrated coach, criminally underrated. He's a really good defensive mind. He molded that team over the last 10 years to fit their grit and grind motto, to fit that play style, and it's worked really well, and it's been working well this season. So we'll see if they can keep that up. All right, one more Western Conference team I want to talk about is the Lakers.
Ooh. What
are your impressions of the Lakers through the first week and a half?
I mean, I like the Lakers. They're fun to watch. At this point, I don't see them making the playoffs, and that's only because they can't seem to find that identity so far. And the first couple of games, it was whether or not they're going to let Lonzo Ball actually be the facilitator in that offense, because yet he was trying to figure out his role on the team. It's going to take him a little bit, but the problem with that team is they're so young. They're fun to watch. They're fun to root for, but they're so young and they haven't figured it out. And I mean, Luke Walton, is that their coach? Yeah, Luke Walton really has his work cut out for him, and it's going to be tough this season, but I think they're really going to grow because they have enough talent to be successful, but just maybe not so successful that they make the playoffs.
Yep, I think you're right. They have definitely been fun to watch. They're actually first in the NBA right now in possessions per game. They've been moving up and down the court really quick. Contavious Caldwell-Pope missed the first 2 games, little legal issues, but he's done really well their second 2. Lonzo has been, in my opinion, I've heard a lot of different opinions about Lonzo Ball, me. But in my opinion, he's played really well. The scoring hasn't always been there. He put up 4 in his first night, 6, 2 nights ago. 29 against the Suns, but I could put up 29 on the Suns.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But his ball movement has been incredibly good. And his rebounding numbers have been there. He looks like a floor leader. Kyle Kuzma's been good. Julius Randle, Larry Nance. Brandon Ingram has been a shaky shooter, as he has his first 2 years, but I like him a lot.
Yeah, the thing for me is Lonzo Ball, people rag on him. He definitely is one of the most talked about rookies we'll ever see in our life. But the thing for me is that he's played great. He scored, I think it was 3 points in that first game. He hit 1 3, and then he played well. But the thing for me with him is his assist numbers would be even higher if he had people that could make shots, because he's made so many plays that have been phenomenal, but it's been to Brandon Ingram who's been struggling shooting so far, just like you said. And I just like the way that he looks. He has a cool head, and I like that in NBA players because especially someone of his caliber and that's talked about, at least the fact that he has a cool head has been really impressive to me.
Level-headedness has certainly been his best asset so far. He came down his first play of his NBA career. He brought the ball up the court, and Pat Beverly met him at half court and gave him a shove and pushed him to the ground.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
And he hopped right back up. His face, you can't tell if he's putting up 29 a night or 4 a night. He's got the same demeanor all the time, and I really like that. He's a really calm and collected guy for being just 19 years old. So I'm looking forward to seeing his career play out.
Me too.
A couple teams I want to talk about as we transition to the East that play a lot like the Lakers and that have been a lot of fun to watch have been the Nets and the Magic.
Yeah.
Two historical bottom feeders in the East that have been, the Nets are 3-2. They beat the Cavs in their last
They
win.
did.
The Magic beat the Cavs and then beat the Nets. They're 3-1. Both teams have looked really hot. Magic are second in the league in possessions per game. Nets are fourth. They play fast, just like the Lakers do. They get a lot of shots off. Let's talk about the Magic especially.
Yeah, the Magic with that led by Gordon's on that team, right? Aaron Gordon's on that team. He's been phenomenal so far. I've loved watching him play. But just seeing how they've started off hot, they haven't been afraid to go at teams, and that's what I like in a young team like that because they're definitely another young team in this league. And their coach has them playing well. They're fun to watch. That team hasn't seen a great team probably since the Dwight days, and that was forever ago, and I miss that Dwight Howard. But then for me, the Nets have been even more fun because most people, if being a little bit from the New York area, no one cares about the Nets. They assume they're going to be awful every year. But you see, they have D'Angelo Russell, and for me, it's their bench that has played really well so far. D'Lo has been great, don't get me wrong, but their bench is what's been helping them be able to beat teams like the Cavs. And I think both of those teams are going to be fun to watch. I don't know how much they're going to be able to keep it going, but it's definitely going to be fun to see it moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the Magic and the Nets, we're kind of grouping them together.
Yeah.
They've both run a 13-man rotation.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That is crazy. They got a really deep bench, both teams, with a lot of role players. Like, look at the Nets. They've got DeMar Carroll, Rhonda Hollis-Jefferson, Alan Crabb, Trevor Booker, Joe Harris, Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
All guys averaging over, I think, 8 points a game. That's fantastic stuff. If they can keep that up, they've shown they can run with just about anyone. I was in a meeting. I was watching the Nets and Magic play when the Magic came out. I think it was like a 98-94 victory.
Yeah.
And Matt Boombaka actually was giving me a little. He was messing with me a little bit for watching that game because that's historically been not a matchup that you're gonna find too many people watching. It was actually a really good game. And I think that bodes well for the future of those two franchises.
So you're saying you weren't paying attention during the Carolina Tonight meeting then?
It was before the meeting started.
Okay,
I'm going to say that. Don't tell Danielle.
All right, I won't. She doesn't watch this, so you're good. I mean, but another team that's been kind of fun to watch for me has been the Heat. They look like they can play with just about anyone. You got Hassan Whiteside,
Yep.
And you got they still got Dragic, right?
Yep.
And I mean, they picked up a couple, and they have waiters, and they picked up a couple role players, so they're going to be a young team again. That's going to be fun to watch. And I really think that the teams that we're talking about right now have the potential to make that next jump, and be like one of the top 6 in the I almost said AFC, in the Eastern Conference, because really the Eastern Conference is 3-4 teams that you really go, okay, they're really good. And then you have the next level, but these are the group of teams that can make that next jump and really solidify their position in the league so far.
For the last couple of years, that conference has been wide open. You mentioned the Heat. Hassan Whiteside has been playing out of his mind.
Oh my gosh.
28-year-old big man is putting up 26 points and 22 rebounds. That is crazy. 22 rebounds is a lot of rebounds.
Oh my gosh.
I love watching him play. I love watching him beef on Twitter with Joel Embiid. He's a fun guy.
He's definitely a fun guy.
I like him a lot. He's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, he's definitely a great guy to watch. Let's see, who haven't we mentioned? Well, we haven't mentioned any of the big teams. You got the Celtics, who are, wow, I don't know why I clapped, but you got the Celtics, who are struggling a little bit, but I mean, we were ready to see that after the big loss, and that was terrible to watch. Oh my gosh, Gordon Hayward.
If you haven't seen that injury, be sitting down when you watch it.
Yeah, definitely be sitting down when you're watching.
That was really bad.
It was tough. I mean, everybody's so excited for the new year. You got a new team, and just for that to happen like in the first 10 minutes of the game, 6 minutes of the game,
nuts.
It was not what you wanted to see if you're the NBA. I mean, but to make it, I mean, looking on the bright side of that, though, they still played really well in that game. They only lost by 3 to the Cavs without Gordon Hayward, and they have struggled a bit against teams that are talented, but they have been able to beat the teams like the 76ers and other teams that aren't really up to that, up to their standard yet. So, I mean, I don't think they'll hurt too much without them. I think they'll still be one of the top 4 teams in the East until he gets back, and then once he gets back, it's just going to be insane to watch how he fits in.
Yeah, right. I think they've got a nice rotation. They got Marcus Smart back last night. He played his first game of the year. Terry Rozier played really well in his place, and Marcus Morris, who came over from the Pistons in exchange for Avery Bradley, he's going to play his first game, I think, tomorrow night. They've announced.
Yeah, and I think for me, that trade, I didn't like that trade, but I do think Morris is a great player. I didn't like that trade from the Celtics standards because, I mean, or from their point of view, you lost a great defender, and you really need defenders to beat a team like the Cavs or to beat teams like the Wizards or Raptors.
Right.
But I do think he's going to help them. And for me, Jaylen Brown has been pretty good. I've liked the way he's started the season. He's definitely found ways to score that I didn't know he could do before, and I think the ceiling's high for him.
I think you're absolutely right. He's a guy with a ton of basketball IQ. He's a really, really bright kid.
Yeah.
His game has developed a lot even since last year. We saw it in Summer League. He ran a lot with Jason Tatum. They look good together. Tatum was the first Celtics rookie to put up a double-double in his debut, I think it was, since Larry Bird. He's been exciting so far. Semi Ojeleye is a name you've never heard of. He went to SMU. I think he played 2 years there.
Under Larry Brown.
Yes, under Larry Brown. He was an elite scorer at SMU in college. He didn't get a lot of attention because SMU. They did make the tournament. They were knocked out after, I think, 2 games, maybe even 1.
Yeah.
But he's been playing. He locked down Giannis Antetokounmpo when he was on the floor last night. I think when they were matched up, Giannis was a -6 plus minus. Semi Ojeleye can score the ball. If you're looking for a guy to get behind who none of your friends have heard of, Semi Ojeleye from the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the Bucks right there and Giannis, what do you think so far of them? They've been fun to watch. I mean, they're lengthy as heck. I mean, oh my gosh, they have length for days. And I think that's what's going to make them a tough team to beat because you can't really drive on them. And then if you drive and try to kick it out, one of the other big guys might actually get a hand on the ball. I mean, think about a team to play in 2K with. That's your team right there. They might not shoot that well all the time, but they definitely have players who can score.
Right. I like watching Malcolm Brogdon play a lot, obviously being a UVA guy. I like Brogdon. John Henson has been good off the bench. Greg Monroe, Jabari Parker in a contract year.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to prove coming off of 2 straight ACL injuries. He's been playing well so far, but Giannis, man, he's been ridiculous. He's been putting up 35 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. I think he also leads the team in steals, and I'm not sure about blocks. But he has improved all 5 of those stats every year since he's been in the league. And this season looks like he's going to keep improving. One of my best friends was trying to tell me he was going to be the MVP before the year started, and I said, no, it's going to be LeBron. And I'm a little worried about that prediction.
A little worried after the start.
I think we might have put some money on that, and I'm a little worried about it. But Giannis has looked great. Speaking of LeBron, you want to talk about the Cavs a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the Cavs, to me, they're still the Cavs. But the problem with them is they've had a little bit of growing pain seeing how exactly they're going to run that offense. I mean, the last game, I think you had LeBron at the point, and he was phenomenal. You've moved D-Wade to the bench. I like that move, but I don't know how long it's going to actually last because I don't know how much faith they actually have in J.R. Smith. And I like J.R. Smith, but I think it depends on what you want to get and give up from those 2 guys. Like if you want a good guy off the bench who's going to definitely do well against the second team because he's better than that, I'd put D-Wade even though he's old, and that's a lot of what people say, he's older. But I like D-Wade off the bench, and I really think what it comes down to for the Cavs this season is if Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson perform as the way they can, because they both are big men. And I mean, yes, Kevin Love can shoot threes, but if they both can play as big men in that offense, they're going to be nearly unstoppable.
During their 2016 championship run, Tristan Thompson was a big part of it. He moved to center. Kevin Love played really well. Those are 2 guys I think that might be 2 of the biggest X-Factor guys. You know what you're going to get from LeBron. But Kevin Love especially, I think, can be the biggest X-Factor on that team. The guy that's impressed me in the Cavaliers organization, other than LeBron so far, the most has been Ty Lue. A guy who has always been called LeBron's sidekick, never been considered, honestly, a real coach. Second fiddle in the East to Brad Stevens, even though he's got the best team. I think he's been really impressive. He's 2 things that he's done so far have really been good coaching to me. One, he's not afraid to shake up the lineup. They've run, I think, 9 different guys on the team have gotten starts. And the other thing is that he's not afraid to call his team out. After that loss to the Nets, he was saying he lit into the team in the locker room. And that was exactly what they needed to hear. So I really like that from him. So now that we've gone through both conferences and kind of covered all the main headlines from the first 2, for the first week and a half, You want to go through our power rankings?
Ooh, all right. This is tough, and let's see how wrong we're going to be in a couple weeks. But for me, with the West, I'd still have the Warriors at number 1. I mean, yes, they haven't played up to par, but they're still that team you got to beat. And when they play up to their standards, they're going to be nearly unbeatable, and that's why I still have them number 1. And then for me, after that point, it's tough because you have a lot of teams that have played really well. And for me, I'd probably put the Rockets at number 2. And then I'd have the Spurs at number 3, and then the Thunder at 4, and the Clippers at 5. It's tough because all these teams are really good.
Yeah, they are.
And so, I mean, like almost all the teams we mentioned earlier, except the Lakers, they all have a winning record, and they've all maybe lost 1, maybe 2 games tops. But it's really tough. And so, yeah, for me, those would be my power rankings for the West. What about you?
All right, my Western Conference. The Spurs look like the best team in the league, and they're without Kawhi Leonard, an MVP candidate. So I'm going to put them at number 1. I'm going to go Warriors number 2 because it's been 4 games, and they are the Warriors. They've got probably 2 of the top 3 scorers in the league.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. We're going to go with the Rockets 3. Let's go with the Thunder at number 4. I think they have the potential to make the biggest jump. I could easily see them as a number 1 or 2 team. 5... I don't know. It's
Take
tough.
your pick. It's tough.
It's tough. I'm going to go with the Clippers.
All right.
I'm going to go with the Clippers
Look at that.
as well.
We agreed on something.
All right. Shoot on the East.
Ooh, the East. Cavs are number 1. Yes, they haven't started too hot, but they're definitely the team to beat. They'll definitely be the team to beat all year. And then for me so far, the next 4, it's really just a toss-up. For me, I have the Wizards at number 2 with, we forgot to mention them, but with Wall, Porter, and Beal. They're definitely young. And for me, Kelly Oubre has been really fun to watch this year. And I think he's going to be either their trade chip down the road when they try to get one other star, or he's going to just develop into a great talent because he can play both the 3 and the 4. Same with Otto Porter, and that's what makes them dangerous.
Right.
But the Bucks for me would then be number 3 because just like I said, their length and Giannis. Like there's nothing you can do against that team, or not a lot you can do to beat them. Then I have Celtics number 4. Yes, they've struggled a bit, but they're still the Celtics, and once they're up to par, they are going to be up there. And I have the Magic at number 5. And just because for me the Magic has been fun to watch, but they're really,
I like it.
It's a really tough. And yes, they're young. But I have the Magic number 5 so far, and the team that we forgot about that's close would be the Raptors. Would be number 6 for me if we were at 6.
I think so. For the East, I'm probably gonna have to put the Cavs at number 1 as well. I think at this point there's no. If you think of power rankings as who's gonna beat who in a one-on-one exhibition game, I think. I can't put the Cavs below anyone else in the East.
No, I can't either.
I'm going to call the Celtics number 2. I think I'm going to put the Bucks at 3. They've looked really good. Giannis has showed he can do a lot. They lost narrowly to the Celtics on Thursday night, but they do look really promising. At 4, I'm going to go with the Wizards. And at 5, I think I'm going to go with the Magic as well. After they beat the Nets, they did beat the Cavs. They're looking hot.
Yeah, exactly. So who were your players of the week last week, though?
Okay, players of the week. Number 3, I'm going to go with LeBron. LeBron did about what we expected him to do, which for us was MVP.
Yeah.
For the rest of the league, he was a very, very solid guy. He's leading his team in almost every single category except for blocks.
Yeah.
And he's looked overall exactly what we expect from LeBron. At number 2, I'm going to go with Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside, the guy we mentioned. He's got 22 rebounds. It's just... If you put up 22 rebounds, you're going to make my players of the week list. And number 1, I've got Giannis for him showing an improved jumper, showing everything in his arsenal that he can do. He's looked really dangerous.
Yeah, I agree with 2 of your in the top 3, but for me, I'm going to have 3A and 3B because I really love the way Blake Griffin started, but I also can't not put Aaron Gordon in my top 3 because he definitely performed very well for the Magic so far.
Yeah.
And Blake Griffin has done a lot to his game. He's really shown to me that he was worth that huge contract that I really thought over the summer he was not.
Yeah.
So thank you for proving me wrong. And then number 2 would be LeBron. Like you said, he's performing up to our standards. And I really love watching him play like this. But the problem with how he's playing is, can he do it the whole season? And for me, I think he can. But how much energy is he going to
That's always
spend
the question.
or extend in the season, and
Right.
then you'll get to the playoffs. He's only one human being. Yes, he's LeBron, but I mean, he's only one guy, and we put a lot of pressure on him. The whole world does. I think he can handle it, but for me, it's whether or not can he keep this going all year, because he does need help, and that's the one thing he hasn't got a ton of with that
Right.
roster so far. And then number one, I agree with you. It's Giannis, hands down. I mean, he's averaging, I don't know, 30 some odd points a game. I can't remember his rebounds and whatever stats, but he's been a beast, and he's really putting a damper on our MVP predictions right now. But it's early.
Right.
It's gonna be a long season. It's been really fun to watch.
Right. So yeah, that about wraps up our first week and a half really of the NBA on CCS. We're gonna try to do this every week, I think. So we hope you'll join us back here last week. Shout out to Tracy McGrady and White Chocolate Jason Williams.
Yeah.
Before we go, I want to throw out 3 games of the week for this coming week that you should definitely make an effort to try and watch. First is Sixers Rockets at 8 p.m. And if you haven't seen the Sixers play, which they've not, I don't think they've played many nationally televised games.
They haven't.
But if you haven't seen Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid play, they're both really special. The Sixers and the Rockets are 2 of the most fun offensive teams, in my opinion, in the league.
Yeah, the Sixers have been great to watch. They didn't start off so hot. They're a team like the Lakers that's very fun to watch because they're so young. They were on national TV their first game when they were defeated by the Wizards, but other than that,
Right.
they haven't been. Definitely watch Embiid and Simmons play. Simmons to me has been phenomenal, and I was really nervous to see how he was going to get going because he's been out for a year, and I'm pretty sure he grew another 2 inches, but I could be wrong. He's
Right.
tall.
He's big.
Another game for me this week would be the Warriors and Spurs, because I mean the Spurs have looked great, and this has been a matchup that you have to watch every year. And I mean the last 3 years, these are the teams to beat normally, or this has been the highest of the highest in this conference, and I really think that it's going to be a great game on Thursday. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. One more Friday at I think 9:30 it was Celtics Thunder. 2 teams that have showed defensively they can be decent. The Thunder, for their offensive problems on the bench, they've got 5 fantastic defenders and the starting 5. The Celtics have some great offensive pieces. They're going to have their roster, obviously, minus Gordon Hayward, back to full strength this week. And I think that should be a really exciting matchup. So that's going to do it for Ben and myself. We hope you join us next week. Thanks for tuning in.